What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 2021 My Team Career Mode for Season 2, Round 8, the British Grand Prix. Now we start this one with our activities. We've got quite a few slots to work with here, so we're going to do a chassis development upgrade. We're also going to do some weight training for Fernando Alonso, a driver promotion training thing, and then also another kind of chassis team building activity. Our turbo reliability upgrade did not go through, so we're going to redo that, and we're also going to put an energy store upgrade on the car as well, really trying to get our durability good because that is the weakest part of our car. But looking on R&D, we are now the quickest car on paper. We're just ahead of Mercedes. Aston Martin have actually taken a big leap up the order, and so have AlphaTauri. So we are actually the quickest now, which is why I think I want to start going for durability a bit more, because I think I'm focusing a bit too much on some of the things that actually change R&D and not really on durability. So we're gonna do a few more durability upgrades, perhaps not get the car, you know, we might stagnate a little bit for a couple of rounds, and if we end up, you know, just absolutely going way too far ahead of everyone else, I might start tweaking the, you know, the kind of cash amount and the R&D resource point amounts that teams and players get. I might start messing with those. At the moment I just have them all on standard, so if it starts getting way too easy for us, we may start messing around with those. On to Q1, you may remember last season this was not a very good track for us. Now we got a great result. We actually got a P5 in the race. I believe it was a P5 because there was absolute chaos. 2 safety cars in this race, but our pace really was not that good. And that seems to go ahead here because we are the quickest car on paper. We qualify P16 in Q1. We're almost knocked out in Q1. And Fernando Alonso only manages P10. So, you know, although, you know, my pace here myself is not that good, but although the car's top of the grid on paper, the car doesn't seem that great here either. So this really isn't looking good for us. And I was honestly expecting to go out in Q2. And sure enough, that is what happened. I actually just realized I didn't show the full Q2 lap. I guess I'm so used to getting in Q3 now that I didn't show the whole lap, but it doesn't really matter anyway. I'm not going to show you the whole lap. But yeah, I do go out in Q2, unfortunately, and it's quite far down. In fact, it's all the way down in P16. We qualify P16 when we've got apparently the fastest car on the grid. Fernando Alonso P8, so the car's maybe not as quick here as it says on paper, but let's see if we can have some chaos in the race.
We return once again then to the home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Shaw. They're starting towards the back of the field today in a car that is fast, so they'll be disappointed, won't they?
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso and Norris, Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, Tsunoda, Lundgaard, Esteban Ocon and Stroll, Vettel, Shaw, George Russell and Kimi Raikkonen, Bottas, Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Alright, so we're starting P16 on the grid. I've actually decided to change it up a bit here. When you see the 5 red lights, we're not going to have all the names there because you don't need that. Nobody's moving off the line anyway, so maybe that'll look a little bit better for future videos. So we get underway here. We're up the inside of Vettel. We're actually getting I think overtaken. No, did we start? No, I think we did start behind Vettel because we're still in P16 here, but we're trying to fight him. That Aston Martin, still not a particularly quick car, but they are actually now the 5th quickest car. They've upgraded quite a lot, but still not showing great pace here. We're still side by side with Vettel, just about have managed to get past him through that next corner. We come down this kind of middle straight here, and we are going to go 3 wide with Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll around this corner. 3 wide, scary, scary stuff indeed. We're still trying to hang it round the outside. Ocon's just about in the lead. We're now side by side with Stroll. We get up on the curbs. He's still there on the right hand side, coming up to Copse corner. Very, very scary corner, and this is pretty much where my lap time goes away. I'm pretty good, I'm pretty quick in the first sector, but it's from Copse onwards that things go downhill. As you can see, Stroll gets me there, then Vettel is trying to get past me into Maggots and Beckett's, but I just about put my foot down and make sure not to go too early on the brakes, go really, really late, and managed to just about get Vettel through there. So we've made up 1 position on this first lap, but yeah, that's really where my lap time goes away. The first sector, I'm pretty quick. I'm just there with the rest of the, with where I should be. But it's once you get to Copse corner and through Maggots and Beckett's, as we get a little bit close to Stroll in front, get a little bit caught out by his braking there. It's from Copse onwards through Maggots and Beckett's where I lose a lot of time. Once we get past Maggots and Beckett's, the last few corners I'm fine with, but yeah, it is just kind of that middle sector from Copse through to Maggots and Beckett's that I am really, really off the pace. Lose, honestly, sometimes like 4 to 5 tenths just through this section here alone, which is absolutely ridiculous, and it's just, I just cannot get this part of the track good at all. You see here, I just can't get the turn in there at all. We look further up the road with Fernando Alonso. He's kind of lost the back of the top 4 grid a little bit, but he's now under fire from Lando Norris in the McLaren, going up the inside into one of these final few corners here. But Alonso is going to get right up the back of Norris, and he's going to try round the outside into the chicane, which gives him the inside for the next corner, for the exit of the chicane, and for the final corner here. They're still side by side though, but Fernando Alonso is just about ahead here, as then Antonio Giovinazzi is up the inside of Norris, and he absolutely sends it up the inside of Fernando Alonso, but he doesn't quite get the move stuck there, and Alonso just about manages to keep it together, and he is now leading a very big train of cars, which we are actually somewhat at the back of here. We're now trying to find our way still past Lance Stroll. Like I said, these Aston Martins are quicker than they have been in the last few races, and my pace on this track is just not where it should be. I mean, we went from winning the Austrian Grand Prix last time to fighting at the back here, as we're going to go for a move on Stroll into Copse. It is very, very close there, but we give each other the room. I don't quite get the move done, as then Vettel is also trying to have a look past, and we've once again got to just absolutely plant it in. We get really caught out through this next set of corners though, and Vettel is right there, but I'm just going to try and put my foot down, carry the speed out of Beckett's there, I believe it is, and just deploy as much ERS as I can, because Vettel is behind me. He's trying to make a move. We've lost a bit of time to Stroll, but we've just about kept Vettel behind. But this is a problem. I've only made up 1 position off the start of this race, and I'm finding it really difficult. But you can't say I'm massively off the pace at the moment, because the leader of this train is Alonso, and we are, I mean, you can see on the minimap there, we are keeping with this big train, as now lap number 6, we're closer than we have ever been with Lance Stroll, once again going for the move at Copse corner. This time we get a bit more up alongside, squeeze him out a little bit, get a bit too much over the curbs, but we have this time got the position done. We've just got to then keep it through Maggots and Beckett's, because this is where I know I am poor. I'm not too bad out of the corner though, so we do okay. As up the grid again, just in front of us with Fernando Alonso and Antonio Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi really wanting to find his way past Alonso here, and he's going to go around the outside of this corner at the top of the kind of hill straight here. Alonso is going to keep his foot in though. He's not going to give in very easily, but Giovinazzi just about manages to get the position, and that is interesting to see. You know, of course, on paper we are just ahead of Mercedes, but Alonso really not managing to do that well. I mean, he's in P5, P6 now, but still could have been better. As at the front of the grid, Sergio Perez got the jump on Max Verstappen at the start. He's starting on soft tyres. Verstappen starts on the mediums, but Verstappen is putting up a hell of a fight. And it is a Red Bull 1-2 right now. Verstappen's trying to make his way through the grid. Of course, he hasn't had a single race victory in this career mode of ours, and so many times he's been looking certain for a win but hasn't been able to make it work. But now he's up back into the lead of the Grand Prix, as now Perez is under fire from Lewis Hamilton. Pierre Gasly also doing a phenomenal job up there with these guys, this top four, just miles ahead of everybody else. And Gasly really the surprising one here. I mean, AlphaTauri, they're like the 7th or 8th fastest team, and Gasly's just putting in stellar performances as Hamilton and Perez are 2 wide going down here, and it's now 3 wide as Gasly tries going through. They're still 3 wide going through this whole section. There is a great battle going on for second place right now. This is, I'm sure, giving Verstappen a big smile on his face as he is now running off in the lead, and Gasly's actually managed to get past Perez. So Perez has dropped from 1st place down to 4th in this first half of this lap. So not a great one for Perez, but a great drive so far from Pierre Gasly. So continuing on now, we have a few cars coming in for their first set of pit stops. Some of the leaders, I think there's one of the Red Bulls there, I believe that is Perez in the Red Bull. Alonso's also coming to the pits as well. As we carry on though, we're into the top 10 now, as my race engineer just tells me, but of course those guys are going to get back past us again. But my team wants me to go pretty long on these softs. My pace on these softs, I don't feel like it's great though. I really am struggling quite a bit on these soft tyres. We've still got Stroll right behind us. We're now trying to pressurize Ocon, but my engineer just told me that Ocon has an issue, and once again we're going to go for the move at Copse Corner. I don't know why this was my opportunity every time to do an overtake, because it's a terrifying corner. It's not one of my best corners. Ocon does slightly try and get the position back, but he's got a mechanical problem at the moment, and we just about managed to do what we did with Vettel the previous 2 times and get the position on Esteban Ocon. Some more cars come into the pits, and it puts us up into P3. So it's only myself and Lundgaard who haven't come in off the soft tyres. On lap number 12 though, me and Lundgaard both come in for our stops. And we're going to see where we come out here. So in for our stop, it is a decent enough stop, but then we kind of get slowed down because we have to let Lundgaard pass. I think we actually do quite a quicker stop than Lundgaard, but unfortunately not quite quick enough that we have to wait for him to come past in the pits, which is very unfortunate. We could have got the jump on him there, but oh well, it just means we'll have to overtake him on track. And we come out of the pits here in P13, so we're still ahead of Lance Stroll. He hasn't managed to get the undercut on us, but he is right there. And yeah, Ocon a little bit further back thanks to his mechanical problem. And I'm going to be honest, on these medium tyres, my pace actually seemed quite a bit better than they were on the softs. I don't know, I felt like this was a better race tyre for me than the softs. And sure enough, lap 14, we've got the DRS on Christian Lundgaard. We're going to go around the outside of this corner, and we're going to quite easily get the position done. He's having a little look, but can't quite do anything. We're going quite defensive. We actually get the purple first sector, so that just shows my pace in the first sector is pretty good. It's just the second and third sectors, that are mainly the second sector really, that we do have issues. We do go green in the second sector this time around though. Like I said, these medium tyres seem to be having a good effect on us, but you can see on the left there, Alonso is slowing down. He seems to have some kind of issue. There's no smoke coming out though, as we have a look at a replay here. Alonso, once again, he's just on the back of Giovinazzi. He's got Lando Norris behind him. He just goes over that curve there, and for some reason he's just slowed right down. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It looks like the rear left tyre has a puncture. These are pretty damn new tyres. He only came in, what, like 3 or 4 laps ago onto medium tyres. He seems to have a puncture, but Christian Lundgaard's just smacked into the back of him. What the hell has happened there? We'll have a look at that in a second. But as we watch on, just at the back, looking at the back of Fernando Alonso, he just runs over that curb, and that gives his tyre a puncture. I don't know what that was. There was some debris there, I guess. As then we look on board with Christian Lundgaard, he just smacks into the back of Alonso. We actually saw this at this track last time. I think it was Daniel Ricciardo crashed into the back of, I think it was, I don't know who it was. It might have been Kimi Raikkonen, I think, who was retiring. Daniel Ricciardo crashed into the back of him, and then George Russell crashed into the back of him. That caused the second safety car of the race. So yeah, this time neither driver DNFing out of the race, but yeah, interesting stuff there. But that is interesting because I feel like there should have been a DNF there. So what I'm actually going to do for the next races, hopefully for the future, I'm going to change to simulation damage. I currently only have it on standard. I'm going to change to simulation for the next races, so that will hopefully spice things up, because we haven't really seen any big crashes this season yet. So that's probably one of the biggest we've seen, and still not a big DNF with wheels falling off and stuff. So yeah, want to see some more crashes, to be honest, for the spectacle. Daniel Ricciardo is currently leading the two Ferraris in P7, the Ferraris in P8 and 9. There's a little bit of a gap to his teammate Lando Norris up ahead, who is right on the back of Antonio Giovinazzi. Those guys are actually catching up to the top four of Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez and Gasly. But Ricciardo is just about managing to keep the two Ferraris at bay at the moment. The Ferraris are actually quicker on paper than the McLarens, but the McLarens do seem to be quicker on track this season, so interesting to see if Ricciardo can keep them behind. We set another purple first sector. Like I said, our speed through the first sector is really quite good, to be honest. And we've also got the slipstream in the DRS from Yuki Tsunoda up ahead, who we've been catching up to at a relatively good rate of knots as we come through to Copse Corner once again here. We're not quite close enough this time. Nikita Mazepin is out of the session with a mechanical failure. He's been having a torrid time these last few races. He's had like 3 retirements in the last 4 races or something crazy. As we go for a move on Yuki Tsunoda, but we don't quite get it done. A little bit too not quite close enough really there, and Tsunoda defends himself pretty well, puts his car in a good position, and we're going to have to probably wait until the next lap to do anything here. But coming through Copse Corner, we have actually got a pretty good run on him, but we're not going to quite do anything just yet. We're still a bit too far back, so we're just going to follow him through here. And hopefully we can maybe get a move done into the final DRS zone here. As sure enough, this time we get a decent run out of Maggots and Beckett. We've got the DRS, we've got the run, we've got the slipstream on Yuki Tsunoda, and we're going to go for the move on the inside into this one of these final corners here. He's still hanging it around the outside there. That's going to give him the inside for the chicane, the next corner, but we're going to switch back to the inside as he goes quite defensive on the outside for that corner. He does manage to keep it though, but we're going to try and get once again a switch back out of the corner there, but we can't quite get it done yet. But once again, we're right at the back of him. We're going to try and go for a dive into turn 1. We can't once again quite get it done. Yuki Tsunoda putting up a great defense here for what is the final points paying position, P10, 1 point for this position. I don't think we're going to be able to catch Leclerc, well, the two Ferraris and Ricciardo up ahead, but we're hoping to try and get 1 point here, as once again down the DRS we're going to squeeze to the outside, and this time we've just about got the position done on Yuki Tsunoda. We're into P10. We're gonna, if we can keep this, have 1 point to our name. So although it's been a pretty disastrous race, it might not be terrible. As further up the road, Daniel Ricciardo is now under fire from Carlos Sainz in the first Ferrari, and he has Charles Leclerc behind him as well, but he is fighting this position through the final chicane here. He's on the outside. He's going to try and maybe get the run on Carlos Sainz, but Sainz has just about got the position onto the front little straight here, and Sainz is up into P7. Ricciardo now in a Ferrari sandwich, but now can he either get past Sainz or just keep Leclerc behind? And looking at the top 4 here, mainly focusing on Pierre Gasly, as you can see, Antonio Giovinazzi and Lando Norris have actually caught up to this top group here. Max Verstappen has quite a big lead though over Lewis Hamilton, you can just see ahead. Then it's Sergio Perez with Pierre Gasly right behind, Antonio Giovinazzi and Lando Norris right behind them, and then it's quite a big 3.5 second gap to Carlos Sainz behind. But yeah, Pierre Gasly doing a phenomenal job right now, looking to get P4 here, and he's honestly putting some decent pressure on Perez for P3. So for him to be this far up in the AlphaTauri with where it sits on R&D at the moment is pretty impressive. As we carry on lap number 24 here, the same lap I think that we were just watching Gasly up ahead, and we are still under pressure by Tsunoda. So we were catching him at a rate of knots earlier on, but now that we've got ahead of him, we can't quite get the gap on him. And lap 25 here, just towards the end of lap 25, he's now got the run on us into this corner where we made the overtake on, well, tried to make the initial overtake on him, and he's going to try and hang it round the outside, but he doesn't quite get it done, and we can just about keep the position from him the second to last lap as we now go onto the final lap of the race to try and just keep this one single point. The tyres are going off a little bit. It's getting quite difficult, and yeah, we're really just trying to keep this position, but we do just about manage to keep Tsunoda behind. He actually drops back a tiny little bit in this last lap. We can just pull away from him a little bit, and yeah, thankfully P10 will be ours. We managed to get 1 point out of what has been a pretty awful race for the team. It was looking like a good result for Alonso, possibly a top 5, top 6 finish, but he had a really random puncture that put him out of the race. He's going to finish down in like P16 or something. We're going to finish in P10 for the British Grand Prix. It's not where we want to be, but hopefully we can bounce back in later races where we do actually have the pace. This track just not the best track for me. I think in future I'm actually going to change the difficulty for some of these tracks that I am just not that good at, just to make it a bit more interesting, but yeah, P10.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So Max Verstappen wins the British Grand Prix. He finally gets his first win of this career mode of ours. Literally, we're 28 races in now, and this is Max's first win. Remember, his teammate Sergio Perez has 2 wins to his name in this career mode, so yeah, hopefully this is the bounce back for Verstappen. To be fair, he's had quite a lot of bad luck. Hamilton comes home in P2, so it's a good result from him after Mercedes being a little bit off the pace recently, and Sergio Perez comes in for 3rd place for a double podium for Red Bull. We get that 1 point for P10. Alonso actually finishes P18, so it's a terrible race for him. We don't move at all in the constructor's standing, in the driver's standing, sorry. We get that 1 point up to 45 points. Alonso's still on, I believe, like 24 or something, 20 something, I can't really quite see at this point in time. We then move around, we move back to P6 in the constructors. We seem to be, it's a little bit of ping pong in constructors. We're going from like P7 to P5 to P6 to P5 back to P6 again, so yeah, we're looking pretty decent, to be honest. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.